Reporting from Ukraine update. The Ukrainian counteroffensive near Tokmak has made significant progress recently. The goal is now to widen the bridgehead by taking tactical heights, improve logistics and set conditions for future advances southward. In Avdiivka, both sides committed forces but Russians exhausted their reserves while Ukrainians rotated troops. Skilled Ukrainian artillery and drone operators helped gain an edge. North of Verbove, Ukrainians took tactical heights, putting pressure on Russians in the village below. West of Robotyne, Ukrainians advanced through trench networks, confirmed by geolocated footage. In a night raid, Ukrainians neutralized dozens of exhausted, under-equipped Russians in underground barracks, using night vision, silencers and machine guns. This shows the impact of Ukrainian decisions to relocate forces and leverage newly captured positions. The United Kingdom's Ministry of Defense latest intelligence update on Ukraine. November 18, 2023. The most intense ground fighting is occurring in three areas, around Kupiansk, Avdiivka, and Kherson Oblast. Neither side has made substantial progress in any of these areas currently. Russia continues to suffer heavy casualties around Avdiivka. Small drones and artillery are playing a major role in disrupting attacks. As winter sets in, there seem to be few prospects for major changes in the front line in eastern Ukraine. The Institute for the Study of War Russian Offensive Campaign Assessment. Russian forces conducted drone strikes across Ukraine overnight on November 17 to 18. Ukraine reports to have shot down 29 out of 38 Russian drones. Targets hit included energy infrastructure in Odessa Oblast, administrative buildings in Odessa, and infrastructure facilities in Chernihiv Oblast. Russian military bloggers claimed strikes on an oil depot in Odessa Oblast, an airfield in Khmelnytsky Oblast, and locations in Kyiv. The drone attacks indicate Russia's continued efforts to strike Ukrainian critical infrastructure, especially energy facilities, even as ground combat remains largely static. The pace of Russian drone strikes has increased after a lull in late October-early November, showing Russia's capability to resume intensive strikes despite losses of Iranian-provided drones. The Institute for the Study of War key takeaways today. Kyrgyzstan called on Russia to support its migrant workers in Russia, amid Russian proposals to limit migrant labor. Courts in Dagestan continue charging only minor penalties for October 29 anti-Semitic rioters, while some Russian nationalists want more government control in Dagestan. Russia is intensifying efforts to restrict internet access and control the information space. The European Union plans to sanction Russian oil tanker sales to enforce the G7 oil price cap. Russian forces continue offensive operations along several fronts, making gains near Avdiivka and Donetsk City. Russia has frozen prisoner-of-war exchanges with Ukraine since summer 2023. Ukraine's Armed Forces General Staff update. There were 64 combat engagements between Ukrainian and Russian forces on November 18. Russia launched missile, air and artillery strikes across Ukraine. Russia conducted airstrikes using Shahed drones, with 29 out of 38 drones shot down by Ukraine. The strikes resulted in civilian casualties. Fighting continues along multiple Axis fronts, including around Kupiansk, Lyman, Bakhmut, Avdiivka, and Zaporizhia. Russia made multiple unsuccessful assault attempts that were repelled by Ukraine. Russia continues artillery shelling of various towns and settlements across eastern and southern Ukraine. Ukraine continues offensive operations around Bakhmut and Melitopol. Ukraine inflicted losses on Russian manpower and equipment. Around 20 Russian soldiers deserted their positions near Krinky, Kherson region. Russia is stealing grain from Ukrainian civilians in occupied areas like Berdyansk. Ukraine conducted airstrikes and missile strikes against Russian military targets and assets.